So here we have the world's first remote control wireless joysticks for the Atari 2600 or the Atari VCS video computer system. Now these weren't official Atari products. When I bought them, I just assumed they were official because of the Atari font. But the only mention of Atari is down here, and it's made by a company called Game Mate 2. So yeah, the box has seen better days. I mean, this obviously had some water damage at some point. I mean, it's just yeah. I mean, it holds its shape, but it's completely battered. So the story goes, this came out in 1982. Now, instead of taking them to court for using the the look of the joysticks, Atari was so impressed with this product, they wanted to put the name to it. So what they did was, they probably gave Game Mate 2 a lot of money, and basically either Atari or Game Mate 2 made official Atari wireless joysticks, and basically it's exactly the same product, but instead of saying, where is it? Instead of saying Game Mate 2 on the receiver, it had the Atari logo. So everything else was exactly the same except the box. Even the polystyrene inserts are exactly the same. The only difference being on top of the joysticks, where you've got this orange sort of little ring around the joysticks. The Atari ones were just black, they weren't painted. So does this work? I have no idea. I've never tested it yet, so I'm going to test it today. And let's see if I can enjoy some Space Invaders with no more messy wires. So here's what's in the box. So you get two joysticks, and then you get your wireless receiver, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But if you want to compare the size of these joysticks to an original, so that's an original Atari generic joystick. So it's practically the same size that way and that way, but if you look at it from this side, it's huge. So when I saw this for the first time, I actually laughed out loud because it just looks like a walkie-talkie. So each controller takes one of these 9-volt batteries. There we go, that's one. And two. Now, even though the box is completely battered, the actual joysticks and the receiver are in really good shape. So these came out in 1982, so it's like 40 years old. I mean, they even smell new. Actually, no. You know those yellow blocks you get in urinals? Those like lemon-scented blocks with a hint of disinfectant. That's what these smell like, which is quite worrying. So, moving on to the receiver. So, we've got a massive aerial on the back. And you've got two cables, one for the left controller, one for the right controller, and then you've got this power cable here. So that goes into the back of the Atari, and then you plug your existing power cable from your Atari into there. So let's set this up and see how well these things work.
Only Atari makes the world's most popular home video games. The only Space Invaders. The only Asteroids. The only Pac-Man. The only Missile Command.
So on the back of the control, the bottom of the controllers, you've got a label telling you that is the left controller and that's the right controller. Right, so let's get a game. So I'm going to try it with Space Invaders. and then turn on both controllers. So apparently you have to have both controllers switched on, even though you're only using one. So what was that one? That's a left controller. I think that's the right one. So here we go. So the left and right's working, but the fire button's not working. There we go. Oh. So they're more responsive than I thought they would be. Like there's no lag or anything. So I can get the mothership. Come on. So let's try it with Berserk, because I need to test the up and down function as well, because Space Invaders only goes left and right. So far so good. Shame there's no speech in this version. Don't think there's any speech on the Atari. So let's put it through its paces now and try a few more games. Next up, Missile Command. Now if you can see a line down the screen, that's just the shadow of the aerial. Now I did read somewhere that Wi-Fi tends to interfere with the signal. I've got a Wi-Fi booster in this room, and it seems fine. Doesn't seem to be affecting it at all. And yes, I know this game is better played with a trackball, but I don't think my trackball's working at the moment. So now I know that the left controller's working, I need to test the right controller. So I'm going to try Stargate, because you can use the second controller to activate your smart bombs. So let's give this a go. So I've just gone invisible there. So there's my smart bomb. I was never any good at Defender, and I was never any good at Stargate. And it even works at the other side of the room. So there we go. 40-year-old technology that actually still works, and works pretty well. In fact, I prefer using these than the actual Atari wired joysticks. For some reason they just feel a bit more responsive. Yeah, so I think in future I'll be using these, but I will get through a hell of a lot of 9-volt batteries. So that's something I might have to think about. So anyway, that was my review of the Game Mate 2 remote controlled wireless joysticks from 1982. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye!